May 2002. I'm on top of the world. I excel at work, consistently getting promoted 1 or 2 years ahead of plan. I was promoted to manager in public accounting within 4 years. I'm on partner track. And I just got married last year. I'm also 8 months pregnant with my daughter, dreaming of how I would give her everything I never had: a home, love, compassion, warmth. All of that suddenly changed as Enron, one of the largest energy companies, collapses, and Arthur Andersen, its auditor, the biggest CPA firm at that time, is to blame. And Andersen implodes. No job, no network, the dot-com bust was in full swing. My world collapses, and I spiral into the dark abyss of depression. Irrational thoughts like, would I become homeless again? Could I ever find another job? And I do get another job. I've now switched careers from public accounting into internal audit. It's a year later. I'm 5 months pregnant with my son now, and I'm sitting across the table from my boss at lunch. I'm telling him that I'm quitting my steady-paying job to start a company so that I can sponsor work visas for 2 girlfriends who had also worked with me at Arthur Andersen. And because Arthur Andersen had collapsed and they had gone to a new company, but that company was not able to sponsor their work visa, they would need to leave the country. First, he tells me I have a bright future at this current firm. He's going to push to promote me to managing director, which is the equivalent of a partner. When I didn't change my mind and told him I'd already made my commitment to my friends, he asks me if I'd looked at the non-compete clause in my employment letter. What I'm planning to start in my business is in direct competition to his firm, my current employer. And finally, he looks at me and says, "Your pretty face is not going to get you far." A whole flood of emotions overwhelm me all at once. All the voices in my head are talking. I feel hurt because this is my mentor talking to me, and he doesn't think I can do this. And you, my mentor, just told me I was doing a great job and that I would be making partner. And now you don't think I can make it. I feel scared. I've never done anything like this before. I don't know anyone else who has either. And I'm potentially getting sued. Could I really do this? What if I fail? What will happen to my baby? And what will happen to my family? Will she grow up homeless too? And fear turns to anger. I am pissed. If I had more confidence back then, I would have had a witty comment to say like F you. Instead, I was stunned speechless. In my head, I'm thinking, I'm going to show you I can do this. You've never had to be homeless. You've never had to sleep on a dirt floor or huddle in a cold van. If I survived that, I can start my business. And that was my road to entrepreneurship. People often say, it must feel great to be your own boss. It is great. This is what it looks like to be a first-time entrepreneur. When the only people you know who've ever done it before are from history books or business magazines. Heck, my mom to this day doesn't speak English, much less be able to show me how it's done. This is what it feels like to be a first-time entrepreneur with a partner or a spouse. Here is the start of what you think the road ahead will look like. Easily paved, nice and straight. Here is reality. Nothing is a straight line, nothing is expected, nothing is painless. From selecting a name to ordering business cards to setting up a website. The most gut-wrenching ride is when you have to find customers so that you can pay the mortgage, you pay everyone else first, and then you get paid. Let me share a story about my very first client. She is wicked sharp and demanding. She's the VP of Internal Audit at Intuit in 2003. Yes, Intuit is the maker of QuickBooks. Sunita Ahmed is her name. I'm sitting in Sunita's office in Mountain View, California, Intuit's headquarters. I'm explaining to Sunita that my last day is next week. Why? She asks me. I explain that I'm starting a company so that I can help two friends get their work visas. And she asks, what work do you have lined up? None was my answer. Without asking me, Sunita then says to me, I will hire you. I will hire you because you do brilliant work. You are my preferred provider and I'm willing to put that in writing. Imagine the relief that you feel when someone who you admire believes in you and your ability. The work doesn't come immediately, though. It's another 4 months before a project comes up and Sunita has the budget to hire me to explore a new concept called Enterprise Risk Management. It was to explore how ERM could be a strategic tool for Intuit. It was a tiny project. But the size of the project doesn't matter. What matters is that Sunita believes in me. What matters is Sunita is giving me the chance. And I make sure that I deliver for Sunita. When Sunita leaves Intuit to become the CFO of Good Technology in 2004, she hires me again to help scale her accounting processes and operations for an IPO. A few years later, when Sunita comes back to Intuit after selling Good Technology to Motorola, she hires me again for data analytics. Sunita changed my life. Let me share with you about CNET Networks in 2005. They are a hot internet company. They're public. Sarbanes-Oxley, the law had just been passed. That required public companies to document and test their internal controls. And in 2004, CNET implemented Sarbanes-Oxley on its own. They were super smart people, but they didn't have the bandwidth to do it. So they receive a material weakness from their auditors, KPMG, and KPMG recommends to them that they hire me to help them pass SOX because I had just done it for another company. In 2005, CNET also hired a new CFO. He was an executive from the Gap. He looks like he comes from the cover of GQ. Whatever he wears, whether it's jeans and a casual 20-year-old in a tech company or formal suit and tie, he's always well put together. And with his background, I wasn't sure what he would think of a small outfit like mine. Meet George Mazzata. Like many good CFOs, he says it straight up. He tells me his goal is to fix the material weakness. He then does something unusual. He includes me on his team. Every Tuesday morning, I am invited and expected to be at his staff meetings, along with the VP of Finance, the Controller, and VP of IT and Legal. That is the first time I've been included in the inner circle at an executive level. He treats me like a team member, not a consultant or a vendor. George and I have a standing one-on-one meeting to work through the SOX issues. He gives me a chance to prove myself, so I work extra hard to earn George's trust. I learned so much working for George. The first time I prepared for an audit committee presentation for George's review, I was feeling good, almost cocky. I had done so many audit committee presentations before. When George reviewed it, he shredded it with his review comments. They were all good comments. I truly learned the rigor of board of director presentations, from the font size to graphics to spacing to messaging and delivery. And at the end of 2005, CNET fixed its material weakness and passed SOX. CNET was sold to CBS in 2008 and George left. And when George became the CFO at a growing SaaS company, he hires me again, this time to design business processes and implement systems. George changed my life. Now let me share with you about the time I almost got fired. In 2006, CNET hires a new senior VP of Finance. Here's a man who gets into the office by 6:45 every morning. 1 week into the job, he asks to meet with me to understand the current SOX plan. I'm still the SOX consultant provider. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm sitting across a man with total poker face, grilling me about the minute details of my plan. Rapid-fire questions. Why did you rank this risk high? Why are you doing site visits to China? Why is your budget like this? This man is well qualified for a second career with the FBI or the CIA leading investigations. And I walk out of that meeting thinking to myself, he's going to fire me. And it turns out that was his test to me. His test of my competency under pressure. And it was a start of an ongoing 10+ years working relationship. Despite his tough exterior, he has the heart of gold, if you know your stuff. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He came from Big 4, at that time Big 8. He works for the best, and he's the sharpest. Meet David Bernstein. For the next 10 years, David hires me at 3 different companies for special projects. We do data analytics for Airbnb today because of David. He gives you tough challenges and you have to deliver. And when you accomplish it, he gives you the next challenge. Over the years, he's coached me and he's coached my people on my team. And I'm so grateful. Because I'm not afraid of hard work, I thrive on it. David changed my life. So why do I tell you these stories? Because these are the men and women who've changed my life, who've made it possible for me to be where I am today. Thank you.